What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Mr. Mustache MMA News. Today, I want to discuss last Saturday's event, UFC Noche, in its entirety. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly and help the channel grow. All right, guys, getting right into it. Diego Lopez knocks out Jean Silva in their main event showdown in what possibly could be fight of the year. Normally that type of award would go to something that goes the distance, 3 rounds, 5 rounds, all out, action packed, back and forth fights, right? But this checked all the boxes for fight of the year, even though it lasted just under 2 rounds. All the backstory, all the trash talk, fight week leading up to it, then that first round, Diego Lopez was able to get it to the ground early, got that mount, was landing relentless elbows. It looked like it was going to be over for Jean Silva early in that fight, weathered the storm like a true fighter, right? Was able to get back to his feet, and then in that second round was making things even more interesting, landing just massive shots off of Diego. Massive. I mean, anybody who had any less of a chin, any less of a fighter from a durability standpoint would have been put away. Just was able to weather Jean was he was on fire in that second round, and then just got overzealous. He himself was throwing a lot of spinning elbows, and then at the closing seconds of the second round, got clipped with the spinning elbow from Diego, and that was a wrap. Followed it up with a little bit of confusion after the fight. It was emotional, you know what I mean? You could tell Jean's one of those guys who just does not want to lose whatsoever. Diego's so fucking big as a featherweight, because it's crazy at how some of these guys cut weight, because Bryce Mitchell went down to bantamweight after basically saying Jean Silva was too big, too strong for him, right? But then you see a guy like Diego who made Jean look small and relatively weak. I mean, what a main event, right? I thought Jean was going to get the job done, but I knew Diego's a very durable athlete. And he went out there and showed he's here to stay. He's still dangerous. All my picks were fucked this week, but that's MMA for you, right? That's why I love the sport so much. I don't mind being wrong ever. That's why I hate a lot of these fickle fans. This is MMA. All these guys are killers. Anybody can win on any given night. We've seen massive favorites lose over the years, but what a main event. What's next for Diego? Maybe the rematch with Movsar, because I think Laurent Murphy, I think he's done enough to earn that shot against Volk next. With Diego just having the shot with Volk, was not able to do enough against Volk. So I think maybe the rematch with Movsar, I think, makes a lot of sense. And I think whoever gets that victory would be next in line after Murphy and Volkanovski. As for Silva, just fucking take some time off, right? That was crazy. He had a crazy 2024, crazy 2025. The guy, just the last couple of years has just been insane. So I would like to see him, just take a little bit of time off, take the rest of the year off, and then come back strong next year. I think he'll still have all the hype in the world. All the hype in the world. But nonetheless, what a fucking main event. Next up, co-main event, Rob Font is defeated by David Martinez. Rob was not able to establish his jab, his range, and David was just relentless, explosive, strong, throwing from everywhere, ill intent, just punishing Rob and just wearing on him as the fight went on. Things got so crazy there at the end when he dropped him at the end of the third round. I think it was Dan Mergliotta the crowd was so loud, he didn't hear the 10-second, and I don't think he heard the final bell either. A lot of unnecessary shots, but what are you going to do, right? You couldn't hear it. You're just stuck in the moment there. But what a fight. What a fight. Passing of the guard. I was struggling to pick against Rob Font, whereas, I thought that in the past he had kept proving me wrong. So I'm like, all right, let's get back on that Rob Font train. But David Martinez showed that he was ready for this next step up of competition. What a fucking fantastic fight. What a fantastic co-main event. Welcome to the ranked upper echelon of the bantamweight division for David Martinez. As for Rob Font, he's already 38, so whatever he wants to do, take some time off, come back, maybe take a big name fight, somebody around his own age. I don't know. I'm going to get a little wild here because I know it's a different weight class, but why not Rob Font, Billy Quarantillo? I think they're both kind of towards the end, action-packed guys both like to strike, volume guys. I think Billy Quarantillo and Rob Font would be a fun fan favorite fight next up for both of those guys. Next up, Rafa Garcia stops Jared Gordon in a fight where I think there's some context, but I don't think it's going to take away from Rafa Garcia whatsoever, who went out there, and I always forget about him. I don't know why. But his striking, he doesn't go for points. He's going out there to hurt his opponent. He's going out there to break his opponent. He's out there to make a statement. And that's what he was trying to do against Jared Gordon, where at times Jared was really able to he was just really able to slow the fight down and kind of capitalize off of the chaos that Rafa was bringing. But, you could tell with the knee brace, there was something off with Jared. And coming out after getting stopped in that fight, you could tell he was off. He couldn't move right. You could tell something was wrong. He was limping back to his corner in between rounds. And apparently he was hit by a car the day before the fight. Not in a car accident, he was hit by a vehicle. And here is his statement since then through bjpenn.com. 2 hours after weigh-ins, I was standing in the street while a car was backing out behind me. I was looking down the street away from the car. The driver was looking the other way and someone was helping him back out, waving him on. The front end of the car started turning and the right wheel ran my right foot over as bumper started turning and buckled my knee inward, spraining my MCL. I thought about pulling out of the fight, but decided not to. Was it the wrong decision? Maybe so. After a hard, good camp, I didn't want to pull out. It is what it is. I'll move forward. Sorry to all my fans for the performance. So it's one of those things where it's a lot of these guys, they're fighters, right? And all the way to their own detriment, they will push forward, to entertain. The show must go on. Maybe they just need the paycheck, right? They don't. A lot of these guys don't make a crazy amount of money. But it sucks because it's I don't bet on fights, but there are people who do bet, and this is your career, and if you get in a fucking car accident, you get hit by a car the day before your fight, no one's going to shit on you for no one's going to think that you're any less tough. I don't think he has anything to apologize for, to us especially, because it's his career, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't affect any of us. It affects him and his life and his career. And at the end of the day, he got, took, I think, some unnecessary brain damage as a result. But hey, it's not my life, not my career. Hopefully he can bounce back from this. But Jared's had a strange career. The whole thing with the Paddy Pimblett fight, the Bobby Green fight, and now this. He always just... He's got some bad juju on this guy. But I love Jared Gordon. Phenomenal fighter, phenomenal heart, had his moments. He was hurting Rafa Garcia throughout the fight. He was really able to slow it down. A lot more crisp boxing, crisp striking than Rafa Garcia. Was able to catch him coming in a lot. But big victory for Rafa Garcia, who is now really kind of carving out a real good lane for himself and being able to really kind of make a real good name for himself within the UFC. Next up, Kelvin Gastelum defeats Dustin Stolfutz. And, he missed weight by 5 pounds. It was a short notice fight, so what are you going to do? But at the end of the day, it's one of those where it's I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, because it's just, there's always some sort of excuse with Kelvin. And here's my thing, right? Yeah, it was a short notice fight, but as someone who has already had to go up a weight class, you're an athlete, man. Your job is to stay in shape. Relatively, keep your weight down, right? Now, I don't really have that issue. I have so much metabolism. I can't keep weight on. It's impossible for me to gain weight. No matter how much I exercise, no matter how much I eat, I stay the same fucking weight. It's ridiculous. So maybe, he just has issues with losing it. But at the end of the day, it's like you need to make a decision. And if you know you're not going to be able to make that weight, then you need to say something ahead of time when you make that fight happen. But like flip side, right? It's like, imagine if your boss asks you to come in on your day off and you say, yeah, I'll come in. But then you come in like 2 hours late. Your boss is like, well, what the fuck? It's like, well, I'm coming on my day off. It's like, no, be here and be on time. Like, we all have a job to do. Do your job. You shouldn't have accepted it then if you can't show up and do it. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I don't know. It affects Dustin. Yeah, he got a little bit extra money, but Kelvin got the W. Now the UFC, they're gonna reward Dustin with an extra fight, I'm sure. No matter, like if this were to be his last fight on his contract, I think they'd give him an extra fight, right? Codmouth, sorry. But Kelvin looked fast. He looked sharp. I don't think him not having to cut the weight had anything to do with that. He looked like vintage Kelvin in that fight. Dustin had a lot of good moments, good heart. He hung in there, grit. He wasn't giving it to Kelvin easily, and that's the thing I like about Dustin. I'm a big fan of how he fights. I'm a big fan of his striking. He's got good jiu-jitsu. It's just his head movement isn't always the best. His chin's up there a lot. But nonetheless, it was a very fun, very, very, very fun fight. Next up, that's right, Alexander Hernandez, Diego Fijeda. Dude, I was a little nervous about this fight because Hernandez had cut weight recently for the Chase Hooper fight. Like, it wasn't like a damage thing, because I thought that he kind of put Chase Hooper away pretty easily without really taking any damage. I just, he's a bulky guy. He's built like a brick shithouse. So I thought that the weight cut, I thought he was going to struggle with that. And I thought Diego Fijeda, I thought that he was that type of style would have really worn on Alexander Hernandez. And I knew that Diego going into this fight was 40. But in his most recent fights, he still seemed like he was in pretty decent shape. But then when I saw him walking into the cage, he did not look like he was in as good a shape. Hernandez was doing a really good job at just cutting him off and really luring him in with the 1-2 and just catching Diego coming in on that and just not really letting Fijeda really establish really any sort of momentum and just always moving. He was just never in the same place, and he kept to that game plan. Like, Hernandez was in this lateral movement, but he was just always moving. Like, the second that Diego could have even thought about planting and throwing or planting and shooting or getting onto a leg or anything, Hernandez was already moving into the other direction, being very fidgety. He was doing it very well, very effective. And then any time that you would kind of see Diego lunge in, he get cracked to the 1-2. And as Hernandez wasn't throwing 3, 4, 5, 6 punch combinations, he didn't really have to. He was landing enough and doing what he needed to do, and eventually found that kill shot on Diego Fijeda. Phenomenal fight, phenomenal performance. I think it's now 4 in a row, maybe 5 in a row for Hernandez. Really kind of coming into his own here in his 30s. Beautiful to see, fun to see. A true veteran. And as for Diego, I think that's probably going to be it for him. Took a couple unexpected, unanswered shots that he probably shouldn't have taken, but I just think that that's probably going to be the end at 40 years old. Why put yourself through that brain damage? You kind of just saw now the result of kind of where he stands. Was it the lightweight division? So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on that. But nonetheless, big win for Alexander Hernandez. That was fucking phenomenal. The last, 3.5, 4 weeks, 2 knockouts. He wanted to get another fight with Michael Chandler too, which I want to talk about. Alexander Hernandez and Michael Chandler could be a good fight. Do I think he's going to get the fight? No, I don't. I don't think Chandler takes that fight. But that's a fun fight. That's a fun fight. And if Chandler wants an opportunity to get himself... I'm sure he doesn't have a lot left on the table, but I think the UFC, they pay him so much too. It's like they might not give him somebody like Hernandez. But I'd still like to see that fight. That would be fun. Like, if that happens, that'll be really fucking cool. That'll be really cool matchmaking because Chandler really has to prove that he even is still in that anyways. So yeah, great. Next up, Santiago Luna knocks out Kwang Lee, dude, in a comeback that was just unexpected, right? You had Santiago, knew, I think, 6-0 going into this fight. Hadn't really been tested, has been dominant, and got cracked like 4 seconds into this fight. Dropped. Lee really followed up, put on the pressure, was starting to punish Santiago throughout the first round. But then, once Lee wasn't really able to find that early finish, and you saw Santiago kind of weather that storm, then you kind of saw him take over and start landing the cleaner, more flush shots, and then was able to find the kill shot in his own right and the comeback victory over Lee in just phenomenal fashion. A really good way to show that he can weather a storm, get back, keep his confidence, stay strong, stay focused. So he passed a massive test for a UFC debut in Santiago Luna. As for Kwang Lee, I mean, man, fuck. I mean, I think, started off great. It was doing great until he wasn't, and it's just the fight game. He fought somebody who clearly is somebody who's here to stay. At this level, these UFC guys are all killers, right? So I think that even in loss, though, he's going to gain himself some hype in just the way that he fought. It was valiant, exciting, entertaining. So in loss, I think that, he's still going to kind of gain some traction here within the UFC. Next up, is it the Dusko fight? Yes, Dusko Todorovic submits Jose Medina just quickly. I was a little curious because Dusko, he's dangerous, but he's had some inconsistencies. But I forgot who Medina was. And because I saw he was a minus 350, Dusko was. I was like, oh, well, I'm not a big fan when I see spreads like that in MMA because it's, it's fighting. It's hard to really say that somebody's that much of a favorite. And a lot of times, too, when you see guys who are that much of favorites, you see them lose. But he went out there and showed why he was the favorite. Got the fight to the ground. He showed that he was just better everywhere, stronger everywhere. Medina was just really, didn't look confident. He just was always on his back foot. And very quickly, it seemed like he just didn't really want to be there anymore. And Dusko kind of gave him that opportunity, and that was just kind of a wrap. For Todorovic, he's one of those guys who's just kind of stuck in the middle. He's been around for a while. He's making a name for himself a little bit. When it comes to his trajectory, it reminds me a lot of Davey Grant. Somebody who's always going to just be dangerous, but never really top 10. He can maybe break top 15 one day in his career, but I don't think he's going to get much further than that. But nonetheless, big victory for Dusko. To kind of just keep him going, right? Joaquim Silva over Claudio Puelles. I don't remember the fight all that much. I remember Silva just kind of punking Claudio towards the end of this fight. He was just kind of doing what he wanted with him. I think I was shocked that it was even a split decision. I feel like I remember thinking that, being like, what the fuck? I don't necessarily remember that fight, so I don't want to speak too much on it. As for Tatiana Suarez and Amanda Lemos, first 2 rounds, Tatiana went out there and just fucking did what she's got to do, what she's good at. She's not the most exciting fighter, but she's dominant, great wrestling, great cage work, strong, single legs. She just wears in her opponents so well. Just does what she has to do to get the control that she needs, right? And as for Amanda Lemos, just could not get her off of her till the 3rd round, where you saw Tatiana kind of slow down a little bit, which kind of, her cardio seems to be a little bit of her kryptonite, where Amanda started just getting good clean shots off of her towards the end of the fight, where, if this was a 5-round main event, which I'm surprised, that easily could have been a main event of a fight night. I think that we were treated a little bit for this being so low on the prelims, right? But nonetheless, Tatiana Suarez, I think it was good that she stuck to her game plan to kind of, she didn't change the way she fought to get the victory with how she got dominated so bad against Weili. And as for Amanda, same with her. She stayed patient, weathered the storm, and then started finding success. It was just a little too late for her, right? But it was a fun fight. It was a fun fight. Tati, you know, it's after seeing what happened with Wei Lee, and I know that I think she's a little older now. She's probably what, 34, 35. Stressing over it a little bit. I just don't see her being champion. But didn't Wei Lee just like vacate the belt? Maybe we can see like a Mackenzie Dern in the future. Like if Mackenzie, because I think Mackenzie's fighting Verna. I can see Mackenzie winning that fight, but Verna's good too. Anyways. Good fight. Tatiana Suarez got her hand raised. We're Amanda Lemos. Next up, Jesus Aguilar, right? I mean, fun fighter, marches forward, good boxing. He just goes into the fire, pressure, grit, heart, will, determination. I think that's the first time I've used that today. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say about this guy? You know, he's just one of those guys who's kind of stuck in the pack. He hasn't really had his statement fight yet. Oh man, yeah, Zach Reese, Cedricus Dumas. What are you gonna do, man? Dick kick. You know, everything that's going on with Dumas. You know, you could tell that was a nasty kick. What are you gonna do? No ill will. 51 seconds, not much to analyze there. The fans are pissed, but you get kicked in the balls and you try and stand. Alvin Correa, Alessandro Costa. I don't remember that fight. Did not watch it, so I can't really talk much on it. Montserrat Hendon, Alice Pereira. Fun fight. Hendon looked stiff, not very fluid, but marched forward, you know, fought with ill intent, throwing bombs, constantly, never giving up. Where Alice Pereira, who looked more physical, more athletic, looked like she had better striking, better arsenal, but also seemed like she just didn't want to fight. Constantly on her back foot, moving backwards, lateral movements, but not really like trying to engage. You know, and when she was throwing counters, they weren't even close enough to land. It was just trying to keep Hendon away from her. And it wasn't doing enough to damage Hendon. She wasn't doing enough to make her pay coming in. And as the fight went on, Montserrat was able to find her success, land good shots, and get her hand raised and won a fist fight. You know, you have to fight. It's that simple. You can go out there and try and look pretty and, you know, hope for a flashy shot, but I mean, you have to go out there and you have to fight. You have to make it happen, especially at the UFC level, because she looks like she has all the intangibles. You just have to use them. That simple. Just have to use them. Last but not least, Daniil Danchenko, Rodrigo. I mean, dude, fucking put him away. Well, back and forth, both guys are going for it. Danchenko, who, I mean, has the kickboxing pedigree, who has the striking pedigree, and it was very obvious very quickly. He was mixing it up beautifully, and became the Ultimate Fighter. The only thing I thought was a little strange, like their glass plaque that they get, looks fucking cheap. Like, I have one as like Employee of the Month for Marriott. Like, hold on. Put the UFC on blast here. Do me a favor right now. Look at the UFC trophy that they have. Look at that shit. Look at what I got. One of my greatest achievements in the work field, because there's a lot of fucking employees at this place. And this is for back of the house for Marriott, South Florida. And this is like the exact same thing that like these guys get for winning the Ultimate Fighter. And they have to like beat the shit out of like 4 people in a row. I think that's a little harder than what the fuck I did. So I thought that was a little weird that they got like a cheap little glass plaque that you can get like at the mall with some laser fucking tagging on it. But congratulations to Daniil. Great fight, man. Great performance. Welcome to the UFC. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you're still listening, you better be a fucking subscriber at this point. I mean, what, we're 25 minutes into this? You better be a subscriber at this point. But I'll be breaking a lot of these down, so like if you guys want to watch them individually. But if you're already listening at this point, who gives a shit, right? But no, that's going to do it for today, guys. Love to hear your guys' thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button. And hit me up in the comments. Mr. Mustache, MMA News out. Let's fucking go, fight fans.